The Dallas Cowboys are coming back off their bye week, and the Philadelphia Eagles, their NFC East division foe, are still undefeated. So my question to you is, are the Cowboys their biggest challenge in the NFC?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. In fact, the standings are how we rank them. And look where the Cowboys rank. You can also go to the odds makers, which have the Cowboys in the number 5 slot in terms of being a Super Bowl favorite. And the Eagles are up above them. The good news for Dallas is they play again. And presumably on Christmas Eve, this time they'll have Dak Prescott in the lineup for the Cowboys. It is worth noting, I think, that there are still plenty of non-believers when it regards the Eagles, and we're not trying to be homerific here, but ESPN did a survey of NFL executives, and one of the kind of resounding takes was the Eagles kind of haven't played anybody. They're not battle tested, and they're going to be one and done in the playoffs as a result of that. In fairness, don't they play kind of the same schedule that the Cowboys play? So if they've got a, quote, weak schedule, isn't the Cowboys' schedule kind of weak too? But the path is really clear.
And then you have the Vikings too.
Yeah, and of course the Cowboys are going to get a chance to maybe end the Packers' chances this weekend, go up to Green Bay and curb stomp them. I don't mean to offend anybody, but figuratively.
Right.
And then go to Minnesota and prove your worth against a Vikings team that enters this weekend 7-1. Now they play Buffalo at Buffalo. That doesn't sound like a winning combination unless Josh Allen has the elbow problem. And then the Cowboys get to go to Minnesota there, and that'll be a real showdown. So some very high-profile Cowboy activity going on. What else is new?
The Dallas Cowboys are coming off their bye week, and of course, goal number 1 during your bye week is always to rest, get healthy. Now heading into that bye week, Ezekiel Elliott didn't play. There were some other Cowboys that weren't on the field. Zeke is supposed to play this Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Any other injury updates that we should be
In fact, we can bring you this as a just in. The original plan for Zeke was to not practice here at the Star on Wednesday. They did a brief walkthrough this morning, and Ezekiel went up to the head coach, Mike McCarthy, and said, I'm fine. I feel fine. I feel good. And so Zeke will practice on Wednesday. Now, McCarthy mentioned we're still going to monitor his reps. There's no need to push him too much. But he'll probably be wearing a knee brace, both in practice and then in the game, something that he tinkered with last year. And then along with him, Hooker should be practicing, the rookie Sam Williams should be practicing, Noah Brown, I believe, is fine. And so, the bye week, by and large, worked pretty well for them. Anthony Barr on a limited basis. So the chance to go up there with all 53 guys ready to roll and to end the Packers as contenders for the year, very inviting opportunity for Dallas.
For the Cowboys, there's always something in the headlines, and we were just talking about Ezekiel Elliott, who is practicing this week ahead of the Green Bay Packers game. However, he's got that knee brace on, something he did play with a little bit last season. Do you see that brace being any sort of issue for Ezekiel Elliott as he tries to get back on the field?
I think it's psychological more than it is physical. And remember, we talked to him about this last year where he said, it just gives me a feeling of stability. His knee's fine. The word that we like to use, the catch-all word is bulky, B-A-L-K-Y. That just means it's not quite right. But that doesn't mean there's further damage that's going to be done to it. It doesn't mean he can't play. It's nothing near as bad as last year's. And so against the Packers team that is vulnerable against the run, and really vulnerable in so many ways, Ezekiel Elliott wants a piece of that.
Aaron Rodgers as a starter with the Green Bay Packers is 7-2 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now the Cowboys could be catching Aaron Rodgers and the Packers at a very good time. What are you looking for in this matchup?
Well, as a kid who grew up in Minnesota, and then obviously with a Cowboy affiliation now.
Yeah, you've been around for a while.
A while. Aaron Rodgers is one of my love to hates. And when I was growing up, if you played for the other teams that went against the Vikings and they had a star player, you didn't like him. So growing up, now I'm 40 and 50 and 60 and still feeling the same way. But that's part of the fun of my fandom is I like the good guys and I get to not like the bad guys. Aaron Rodgers might really be a bad guy in real life. I don't know. But he certainly is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And one of the issues that Mike McCarthy wants to be a sidebar at best and not a centerpiece is McCarthy going back to Green Bay, and he's going to share a hug with Aaron Rodgers, and what do they really think about each other, and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you this, McCarthy wanted that controlled. He wanted the media to do that with him on Monday, and which we did. And then, would you mind not making it McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers, homecoming? That's where my two youngest kids were born there. That's where I met all that stuff. Can we avoid that? And I'm for that, because we're going to get our fill of it, of Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, and there's so many other things to dissect here. So that's one of the many things, it's one of the many issues. We need to kind of compartmentalize those. Same thing with the Odell Beckham Jr. story.
Right.
That's a story, and there's no way that this Cowboy locker room isn't talking about it. But their job and the coaching staff job, compartmentalize that.
Yeah.
Put that over here somewhere, and put the Packers right in the middle.
You know, that was a perfect segue for me. Let's talk about Coach Mike McCarthy heading back to Green Bay for the first time since becoming Cowboys head coach. He had a very emotional Monday press conference. He doesn't want this to be a storyline, but gosh, it's gonna be crazy emotions for him.
Yeah, 13 years there, and it's his adopted hometown.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Green Bay, the fact that it's a small community, the fact that as much as he feels love from those folks, and Aaron Rodgers has urged the Wisconsin fans to give him a warm ovation when we get to Sunday, he will also, somewhere in his head, he knows that he would go into the drugstore or go into the saloon or go into the grocery store for that year that he stayed there after being fired and hear people sniping at him.
Right.
And he did say on Monday, I listened to some things I shouldn't have listened to. I assume he means talk radio. Unless he means somebody who advised him stay in Green Bay because he was doing the knee surgeries.
Yeah.
But he makes $3 or $5 million a year. You can go get your knee surgery rehab in Paris if you wanted to. What do we need to stay in Green Bay for? But I think he stayed because his family has its roots there, and that was there was probably some uncomfortable moments there. Hopefully for the Cowboys, this will be a comfortable moment when he goes back to Lambeau.
The Cowboys are more than halfway done with their season. Do you hear any whispers around here at the Star?
Really, the health thing is big, and we do this all the time, besides the whispers about Odell Beckham Jr., which isn't exactly a whisper anymore, is it? We got Jerry talking about it openly, we got McCarthy talking about it openly, we got Michael Irvin basically managing the marriage.
And Micah Parsons tweeting about it. For all the public.
And by the way, once Micah Parsons tweets about it, that's a sign from the locker room.
Yeah.
Not everybody in every locker room wants every guy to join them. But this locker room seems led by Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott. Now, we'll see what Dak Prescott says about it, if he says anything at all. We'll see what Ezekiel Elliott says about it, because I bet you he will. In fact, I charge you with the responsibility to ask Ezekiel Elliott, since your pal is with him. So that's the non-whisper.
Yeah.
Every coach says, boy, the bye week comes at a good time. Because it always does.
Yeah.
Because there's always injuries.
Well, you can always use some rest. You can use
Right.
some rest, I can use some rest, everybody can use some rest.
What needs to happen is that what you do coming out of the bye week, because obviously everybody has injuries, everybody needs the rest. Now, what do you do with the bye week? And there's a history lesson to be learned, and we'll get into this over the course of the week. What does a McCarthy team usually do after the bye week? What does a Cowboy team usually do after the bye week? And we'll get into that over the course of the week.